pretty much I help business owners, leaders, managers, and their teams to improve their process, to
Okay.
improve their operations. So pretty much helping a company, SMEs, all the way to global multinational companies,
Okay.
improve their operations. So that the engine room. So whether it's manufacturing, whether it's
Service.
service that they provide, correct. It's getting things more efficient, more productive.
Every year, thousands of people migrate to other countries in search for a better life.
Each one with a story to tell of courage and determination.
Adjusting to a new country is not that easy.
Here at Migrant Tribe, we honor you.
So join us as we share our stories from our journey down under.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Migrant Tribe. Stories from our journey down under, episode 44. This is Joseph. Okay. So today we'll be speaking to someone who arrived here in Australia as an expat for Nestle. Yeah, the multinational food company. He later became a resident of Australia. And after so many years of working in the corporate world, he's now running his own business consultancy. So a big Migrant Tribe welcome to Alfred Ablaza. Hi, Alfred. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Thank you, Joseph. Really good.
Okay, good. Okay, so to start us off, so there's this debate that's been going on for years now. So today on the Migrant Tribe, we'll try to finally come up with the what's the answer. Okay, what is it really? Okay, and I know, Alfred, you've had access to this kind of information. So, Alfred, how do you say it? Is it Maggie or Maggie?
Yeah, in Australia, they have all these quirks of how they pronounce words. They say Maggie, Nestle, Nestles. So Nestles has always been pronounced in Australia because they saw the condensed milk, Nestles milk. So, but yeah, it's whatever you want to call it. It's Maggie in Australia, but some people call it Maggie. I guess it's a brand.
Okay.
So the Nestles, they changed it to Nestle, and that was a big change for.
Oh, that's another debate. Okay.
Yeah. Because it's been, Nestle's been here since 1911, so it's a long time.
Okay. So to all the migrants out there, so if you're in Woolies or in Coles, so you go, mate, where's the Maggie? Now, if you're in SM supermarket, is boss, nasan yung Maggie? Okay, kind of thing.
Right.
Okay, so let's go down. So, Alfred, tell us how your journey started. You worked for Nestle, and then you eventually found your way here. So, tell us, how did it all begin?
Very fortunate, I guess, journey, Joseph. It's straight out of university or college, as we call it here. I applied for Nestle, and that's through a colleague of my dad. And the minute I got through the interview, they probably pulled up my resume and they said, "Would you like to go to Cagayan de Oro?" I said, "Okay." I never expected that because I've always lived, the 21 years in Quezon City in Manila, and but I said yes. And I think from then I learned that whenever you accept something that's beyond your comfort zone and beyond the usual location of work, I think that's when they consider you to go further. So that was a very fortunate experience. I couldn't forget my experience in Cagayan de Oro for 2.5 years.
Okay.
Since then, 2.5 years, I was the first junior person to go out of Australia as an expatriate. So they said, "Would you like to go to Australia for 2 years to learn coffee?" Junior guy, a young guy. I was 24, and so again, very fortunate. I was given that opportunity to come to a place called Gympie in Queensland.
In Queensland.
That's where the coffee factory is of Nestle. So that was the start of the journey of the expatriate life. And then since then, I just went on. I asked for 2 extensions, so that became 5 years as an expatriate. So again, very, very lucky. I lived the life of an expatriate. And since then, my son, Jose, was born. As you know, I'm married to a Filipino as well. Was a good friend of mine since university days. I realized that this is the place to raise my son. I had 1 child back then, and I guess that's how I started the journey of expatriate into getting a full-time job and getting localized here. So that's how it started. The expatriate, I think, because of my willingness to go to Cagayan de Oro, a new place, which again I really welcomed, and then moving down to Queensland, and after 7 years, I moved to Melbourne. So I figured in my life, I keep going south, from Manila.
Okay, further down.
Queensland. I don't know what's next, right? But yeah, I guess that's my journey as an expatriate. For 5 years as an expatriate, that was 21 years ago, and that's just how it continued on.
Okay, and any memorable experience kind of stands out?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think it's you're the first. You go to this is a small town, Gympie.
Gympie, okay.
And I'm very courageous and brave by telling you that I'm going to Gympie because I know this will go live to many people. Sometimes you don't tell anyone that you're going.
Okay. We'll
you can live anywhere else in Queensland except Gympie. Because Gympie it's a very let me say very controversial town to live in. But I guess memorable experience is just, I think it's a very fair dinkum Aussie town for us to learn, or for me to learn. I was alone then. The real Aussie culture.
Okay.
So that was the best way to learn how to be a fair dinkum Aussie, as opposed to living straight in Melbourne or Sydney.
Or one of the big cities. So that was, I guess, my next question. When most people would arrive, they'd go to one of the big 3s, Brisbane.
That's right.
But you went straight because that's where the coffee was?
That's where Nestle was. So that's where the factory was. So I didn't have any choice of town. So to answer your question there, the greatest experiences there was learn how to go camping, learn how to enjoy the Aussie wine and a good drink, learn how to go hiking, learn how to enjoy the beach, outdoors, wildlife. I think that was a very memorable experience.
Good. That's good to hear. So, and eventually around this time already, so you decided that this was for you to have your family, kids, and all that. So how was that transition? Okay, so Judy was already with you at this time, right?
Yeah,
right?
That's right. When I decided to stay on, obviously because we had our firstborn. Then Jose, he was 1 or 2 years old. So yeah, I guess if you're asking about the journey, how that happened, I just said to Nestle Australia, can you just give me a job? Okay. I mean, you won't get anything if you don't ask, right?
Of course.
I just said, can you give me a job? I said, okay, but you need to do one thing for us. You call Nestle Philippines and you tell them that you want to stay, and we will give you a job. So I rang the executive director, the technical director, the COO of Nestle. He's a Swiss guy. I remember Pierre. Mr. Guignard, I asked him, I want to continue serving Nestle. I'm not coming back. Can I just stay here? It was a short conversation, and yeah, sure. So I just asked for permission.
Just like that.
Just like that. And then again, and Nestle really helped me out with settling in, from 457 became a permanent resident. Then 2 years after, back then it was only 2 years, applied for citizenship.
Okay. And the transition of the family, did they adjust well to life here in Australia?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think Judy came here and she was it was very quiet in Gympie, There's really lights out. Restaurants close at 7:59 p.m. Shops close at 4:59 p.m. It was a big shop. In fact, I remember, if I rewind back to when I first arrived in Gympie, Queensland, I had to leave the TV on in my unit because it was just so quiet. You don't hear any.
Even if you weren't watching, it was just on.
It was just on just to have some noise.
That's a trip.
I know. It was just. In fact, what's really funny? They actually sell a postcard in Gympie, and it says Gympie by night. So you buy this in the news agency. It says Gympie by night. You get the postcard. It's complete black. It's a black piece of cardboard.
And that's a postcard.
That's the postcard. In fact, at the back you have all the details, and then photography by Ken Collins. It was so funny because it was like a real photo, but it's just pitch black. It's a glossy black cardboard. Gympie by night.
And which was exactly what it looked like at night.
But again, I think like my realization after living in Manila and then living in Cagayan de Oro, my world has broadened. Same with Gympie, you tend to spend more time. You have less distractions. There's only one cinema, and they only have maybe one movie per day or 2 movies per day, and there's only like 10 of you watching. Enjoy a bit more. So I guess it's really also about as I said, enjoying nature, wildlife, fauna, and then the flora. And it's a great way to to smell the roses, as they say. Stop and smell the roses, because it's a very quiet town. So there's a silver lining in you go to a place like this.
Yes, I can imagine. So definitely you didn't take the traditional route going here to Australia, but I guess at the end it's all worth it.
But it's not as rosy as it sounded, right? But it's also difficult because going through that path of uncertainty and obviously I had to work hard for it. It wasn't just given to me in a silver platter.
Of course.
And obviously it's something that I should have really realized that this is for me. It still went through some difficulties of getting that certainty, because it kept from extension to staying on to, and then moving to Melbourne. That was also a bit of a journey.
So how was that moving to Melbourne? Same company but different role?
Different role. It was more of a head office role, because so head office is in Sydney, but the role was to serve all the 14 factories, and most of them were based in Melbourne. So I guess the concept there was, instead of living in Sydney and flying to Melbourne, they said, why don't you stay in Melbourne? I remember when I was in my farewell, because I spent 7 years there in Gympie, the factory, and I made lots of friends. Everyone, all the whole factory, including spouses, families. You tend to get close. If you're in a country town, you tend to get very close to them. To some degree, of course, with some boundaries. And they all said to me, why are you going to Melbourne? Everyone is actually migrating from the city to Gympie, or from the city to the country. Why are you going to Melbourne? It's cold, it's expensive, it's crowded,
traffic.
But I said I wanted more life. I wanted
to see other people.
Other people. So exactly. So it was a what I learned, sometimes in life you don't go with the flow all the time. If you feel you want to do what's right for you sort of go and take it, and then you learn it along the way.
Yes, definitely. So a lot of learnings there. Okay, so now you're in the city. Okay, so corporate world, couple of years, and then after doing all that, still with Nestle, you decided to take that leap into being a business consultant. Okay, so tell us how did that come about?
Not a surprise, and all premeditated. Joseph, after I graduated, I really wanted to run my own business.
Good.
Believe it or not, I wanted to and still have that dream of having my own coffee shop. So 29 years ago, that was the big thing, right? I went to Canada and there was this coffee shop called the Second Cup, and I really wanted to have my own coffee shop back in the Philippines. So I really wanted to be an entrepreneur. My entrepreneurship started when I was 13, when I always tell this story to my my people I train and people I consult and coach. I used to play the saxophone. I don't know if you know, Joseph.
I didn't know that. Really?
I used to play the saxophone when I was in high school and college.
Okay.
And when I was 13, I had a very inexpensive saxophone, and it started to flake. So it didn't look nice. And I said, look, I'm sure if I ask nicely from my parents, I'm sure they will help me replace it. But maybe if I also earn my own money, maybe I can also do it for myself. So that also taught me to become a little bit more resourceful. So that started my desire to be very entrepreneurial.
Okay.
If I bought something, I did something to it, then I sell it, I make a profit. So I went into the printing industry. And so that's when I started running my own business. I also partnered with my sister with cakes, etc. So I did that for corporate gifts, food cakes. So the entrepreneurship really started when I was young, and then throughout, as I said to you before, Nestle, I really wanted to do that. Sometimes destiny sort of leads you to going to the biggest food company first.
Of course.
And learn something there.
Yes.
And that's why I survived there for 20 years, because it's such a great family and no regrets whatsoever. I think I am who I am now because of them. And in that 20 years, I had 11 roles. But halfway through, I knew I wanted to do this engagement consultancy. I knew I wanted to do this.
Okay.
When you're in a corporate role, you're familiar with corporate roles. You're surrounded by a big company, a big structure. I had 11 roles. I had 10 promotions, sideways and upwards. You get comfortable. That's why even though you had that vision within you 10 years through Nestle, you don't just leave, right? It's not the right time. But it's always been in my mind of being very purposeful and knowing what my purpose was for myself and eventually for my work. So that just happened just like that. And I think 20 and a half years was just the right time. I moved on, and it was very scary because
of course, yeah. After security, that, or being part of a large company, and now, Alfred, so who are you? Kind of thing.
Exactly. I mean, and I had to learn the ropes again, but I knew deep inside me, even though I didn't have a documented 10-year plan. I mean, I didn't have it that structured. Yeah. But I think I had it here and I had it here, that I really wanted to do what I'm doing now. And so that's why I say to you, it wasn't an overnight decision. Okay. That I would set this up. And in the last 8 years, I've never looked back. In the last 8 years, I've really been enjoying what I'm doing, because that follows my purpose in life from a personal point of view. I've got a very strong purpose in without going into a lot of detail, but I have structured my vision board here with my purpose and what I want to achieve, my vision, my goals. That's from a personal point of view, not really business. And I always visualize that, and that keeps me motivated.
Yes, totally agree. That's kind of one thing me and the other members of Migrant Tribe, we all share that. We're very focus driven, and the purpose and all that. So good.
Great.
So business consultancy, that's kind of like a very broad. So I know, I know it's a bit maybe a bit technical or something. Like, can you be more specific? What exactly of focus of the type of consultancy you give?
Sure, and I don't have to be technical because I think I've learned how to communicate this to a business owner, because that's the last thing you want to do. You're right, not to be, to throw them with a lot of jargon.
Yeah, exactly.
But pretty much I help business owners, leaders, managers, and their teams to improve their process, to improve their operations. So pretty much helping a company, SMEs, all the way to global multinational companies, improve their operations. So that the engine room. So whether it's manufacturing, whether it's service that they provide, correct? It's getting things more efficient, more productive, making things easy, better, and cheaper, and improving all other aspects from an operational and technical point of view. So that's what I do. And if just for 2 seconds, if I throw in a few technical terms there, I go through the Lean Six Sigma methodology. That's what I apply, and many other methodologies that I've learned over the years. So I guess that's the uniqueness of how I deliver. It's that holistic approach that I help people from a leadership point of view, culture, Lean Six Sigma, change management, finance, safety, quality. So it's very broad in that sense.
Okay. So on our description of this episode, we'll be putting your details. So for some of you out there who might be, want to take their business to the next level, so Alfred, might be able to help you out. Okay.
Sure, appreciate that, and I appreciate that.
Okay. So the other day I was just going through my stuff. I kind of saw this one. It says Speed to Results by Alfred Ablaza. Okay, so one question. Okay, so again, obviously you wrote this book a couple of years back. What are you most proud about this book?
That I was able to write a book.
Okay, that's a good one. Okay.
Wow, I mean,
how long was the process?
Well, I think being very results driven myself, speed to results, and to live with my title, it only took 4 months.
Oh, good.
And of course, I got some support. Of course, I got you had to get proofreading, and structure and the outline. But to answer that question, it's really about that reinvention, and that's actually in my. I'm very passionate about that statement, because I think in our lives, in our work career or personal lives, you can always find a way to do something different and get outside of your comfort zone. And I think I said this a few times now in this call. That's why I had 11 roles in Nestle. In fact, I created 6 of them out of those 11. So I guess that's that part of being creative and trying to reinvent. So I thought, who would have thought an engineer would be able to write a book, right? I mean, sometimes you would stereotype us engineers of writing a book. So that's number one. It's actually the fact that I can write it. I mean, it's realistic. You can see how thin it is. But as you know, that book is more from a practical point of view and purely from an experience, sharing my experience.
Okay, so
that's what that book's about.
And like what you said, you try not to be too technical, and try to be direct and for everyone to understand. So I haven't really read through the book, but I've been glancing through it a couple of days back. And is there a book 2 coming up?
Probably not yet.
Okay.
But maybe. I mean, you always learn something
yes.
along the way and in the journey. But I think that book in itself, it's actually helping business owners realize that they may have problems, because sometimes you're a leader, you're a COO, you're a CEO, or you're a business owner, and profits coming in. Sometimes you don't realize that you have operational problems, cultural problems, quality and safety. All those aspects sometimes we underestimate, and that's the whole purpose of that is just educating or creating that awareness that maybe, some businesses might have some problems that they need to solve.
Okay. And are you selling this? Is it kind of like online? We can put your website here and they can purchase this book through
Yes,
directly
so
through you?
speedtoresults.com.au.
Okay.
So I guess I that book is really, it's really something that I share with businesses who are serious in improving. Absolutely. So that's the intent of that book. And they say that's a plain right book. Probably that's not the right phrase. Plain right book, meaning you can finish reading the book in one plain ride.
Oh,
That's the whole concept of that it's easy to read, and it's obviously very short.
Okay. Good. Looking
But no,
forward
thanks
to
for
that.
your appreciation and for pulling out that book. That was 3 years ago.
It just so happens he was here. I don't know. Okay, so we're now Melbourne is now slowly, Victoria is now slowly coming out of the lockdown.
Yes.
What were some of the challenges that you had to go through with your business and even in your personal life? So could you share a bit of how were you able to adjust to the situation?
Jay, I mean, firstly, last year was definitely worse than this year. Last year I had a 95% downturn. In other words, I only had 5% income for most of last year because of it was a big shock to the system. And when you go to those kinds of phases, like many people in Australia or around the world, and many people who are watching right now, it would have happened to them. Whether it's from our job, revenue, health, personal, mental health, people experience these problems, and that happened to me last year. But I just kept going, and I kept going, and I think how I talked to you about, I guess, my purpose statement. That was very clear in my head and in my heart. So I just lived up to it.
Yep.
And you just keep going. You just keep trying. You just persevere and persist. And that allowed me to actually innovate and created 1 or 2 new products or services to go online. And in fact, I've been delivering a lot of Zoom consulting and training to Thailand, India, Philippines, China, Japan, all via Zoom. And that's full-on consulting and training. There are no barriers all of a sudden. So, talking about reinvention, that's what it is about. You're struck with a crisis. You tend to, it forces yourself to shift to reinventing, keep persisting, just follow your passion and purpose. So, and that's why I think this year has been a better year than last year. Because of that mindset of just keep moving forward.
Yes. That's always the message we want to give out to all our viewers who continue to watch us. So thank you, Alfred. So here, this is the portion, like kind of like quick question part, like tidbits, favorite place in Australia.
Favorite place in Australia? I've been to all the states and territories in Australia, and I've got to say, Uluru is my favorite place. So, the rock.
Right. Yep.
Big rock. Uluru is Ayers Rock. It's very magical. It's very meaningful. A lot of stories in the history in Australia, and it's got to be in everyone's bucket list. Sooner or later, but once in their lifetime, once in someone's lifetime, that you have to go to Ayers Rock. Definitely did not climb it, but I walked around it, which was 12 kilometers.
Wow.
You're not allowed to climb it anyway. Back then, you're allowed to climb it, which was 5 years ago. But now you're not supposed to at all. Sacredness because of respect for the elders. But yeah, that's got to be the. Of course, I've got many other places that I have in mind, but
that's kind of like the top of the list.
That's got to be the top. Yeah. Because I think it means a lot to this country. I think whilst I have kept my Filipino culture within me, I have now spent more time here in Australia than in the Philippines. I think I was just
Yes.
able to click over the 51%.
Okay.
And much as I really embraced the
Officially,
Philippine culture, officially, I've embraced this country as well, and really understanding its history and its roots and its culture. Especially because every day I deal with a lot of companies, a lot of very multicultural and really the culture of Australia. That's why, like many of people watching, that's why probably Older Route became very, very memorable and significant for me.
Okay. So another question: How do you relax from, let's say, the everyday daily grind? So when you get home, what relaxes you the most?
What relaxes me the most, I've got a bit of a routine on Friday, Saturday. It's well, firstly, let me answer that question for the lockdown, right? So there's not many choices in the lockdown.
Yeah, you're kind of limited.
That I'm really proud of. For the last 2 years now, I've been walking on average maybe 7 kilometers a day.
Oh, wow.
So whether it's the middle of the day for winter, I love winter for walking. Summer is terrible for walking. So I walk almost every day, and if I look at my average, it's about 7, maybe 6 to 7 a day average. That's mathematical average.
That's good.
The next one is, as probably we're all guilty of, Netflix.
Okay. Yeah.
It's Netflix, Amazon, Apple, all of those things. It's just going through.
All the
It's just
streaming.
relax, having a good drink. I like my spirits. That's I'm very spiritual. So that's hence I like my spirits. That's how I enjoy
Got
my
it. Okay.
Netflix.
Kind of different version of spirits, but yeah, still, nevertheless, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, for sure. For those watching, if you know a Negroni, and I know you, maybe that's not part of your question. If you ask me my favorite drink, it's gotta be a Negroni. It's an aperitif that you drink before meals. It's very bitter. So sorry, I just volunteered that.
That's okay. Sorry, cannot relate. Sorry, don't do that much. Okay, so next thing. Okay, the last quick question. The best thing about living here in Australia?
Yeah, best thing living in Australia. Look, I think, and many would agree, and I've watched some of your episodes, and I think we're all gonna say the same thing because somehow we tend to compare from where we come from.
We came from, yeah.
And I think because I started my journey here in Australia, working immediately on the first day I arrived or second day I arrived in the country, because I went into work mode right away, and I had to prove myself because I was an expatriate. And so one of the things that really stuck to me is the way of working here. And I'm not comparing with any other country, but just saying how it is. The professionalism, the people are treated really equally within an organization. The respect that's happening, the trust within a workplace, the way customer and suppliers, how that relationship is treated. That customers is not always the right one. In fact, my clients are the one who actually give me presents and really give me instead of me giving them.
The other way around, yeah.
But my point is, it's a very two-way. It's a very respectable, professional, and really, I guess, trusting sort of environment from a work front point of view. And of course, needless to say, from a personal point of view, it's been such a lucky country. I dare say that our taxes work for us, is working for us. Just the things that is provided to us, from a personal level, from an infrastructure point of view, from a health point of view. We are really very fortunate, you and I, living here in Australia, and the many more than 100,000 Filipinos living in Australia, to have that sort of benefit of enjoying how the government and how this country looks after the people. So broadly speaking, it's really that. It's not just a place of greener pastures, but it's specifically those two things from a work front point of view, but also from a personal point of view, and how we enjoy that sort of living, and especially Melbourne, right? We used to before the pandemic, before our record of longest lockdown, we were the
most livable city. Yep. So,
3-4 years in a row, sort of just neck and neck with Vancouver and Geneva, I think it was. But definitely we were if not
well.
up there in the top 3.
So we just have to work our way back again. Just like,
Absolutely.
just like what you've done since last year. Again, congratulations. So from what you mentioned last year, it wasn't doing well, but now you hopefully kind of recovered. It's good. So
And those things happen. In fact, even 2 years before that, things also went down because I completely went on my own. See, I used to subcontract with someone.
Yep.
And things go down. So whilst I paint the picture that things are really, really great, you experience in your life that things will go in cycles. But I think the important thing is how you would rise back up is the most important thing. So yeah, absolutely. Every 2 to 3 years, there's something that happens in our lives, work life or personal life, and it's just a matter of just getting back up.
Okay, so again, thank you. I'm sure a lot of people learn from your experiences, and I guess the one thing that I could take off is the very first thing that you said that started this all is that when you're asked that opportunity, you just said yes. Okay? So to all the migrants out there, don't be scared to get outside of your comfort zone, because that's where things happen. Agree?
I think so. And okay, maybe think about it once or twice, but don't overanalyze. That's what Richard Branson said. If there's an opportunity awaiting for you, grab it and then learn it later.
Then figure it out later, right?
Figure it out later. I mean, sometimes there's an opportunity there, and we always get bogged down with how to do it. We get bogged down with how to execute because we think of all the things that are not possible. But yeah, if there's an opportunity there, think about it once or twice and then just go for it, and then keep learning. Ready, fire, aim is
exactly.
Not ready, aim, fire, but ready, fire,
aim. Good. Okay.
Thank you for this opportunity of being in your episodes, and I really enjoyed just talking with you.
Pleasure. I enjoyed this chat, and again, some of you are there to from businesses, and you think you're kind of in a rut at the moment. Maybe you need a bit of push, need a guidance. So Alfred, get in touch with Alfred. He might be able to help you out. Okay, so
and Joseph, right now I'd like to, since this is off script, but because you said that, I'm also happy, if it's for a good cause, if it's a not-for-profit, or if someone who simply needs help with their career, I'm more than happy.
Yep.
Pro bono to help people out from a whether it's their career or their business.
Okay.
To if they want any coaching or mentoring or any advice from my point of view.
Okay.
Just to give back.
Yep. So we'll leave details, your email, and
Sure.
they can send you a message. Okay. So that's it for today. Thank you, Alfred, and thank you to all our viewers for watching the Migrant Tribe. Please continue every Tuesdays. We've got new episode, and again, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Okay. Bye.